Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session where we're focused on CDP 2026, and I'll be providing a high-level overview of what's changed and tips to improve your score. My name is Shay Munoz, and I'm a sustainability consultant with BSI. Over the past several years, I've worked with organizations across industries to support CDP reporting, greenhouse gas inventories and decarbonization efforts, sustainability strategy development, and disclosure improvement initiatives. Whether you're new to CDP or have been reporting for several years, one thing remains consistent. Organizations often view CDP as simply another questionnaire to complete. However, CDP has evolved significantly. Today, it serves as a key indicator of how mature an organization's environmental management practices are, and increasingly it is being used by customers, investors, and other stakeholders to evaluate environmental performance and transparency. Now let's get started. Before discussing scoring and improvement opportunities, it's important to understand why organizations continue to invest time and resources into CDP reporting. Historically, companies participated in CDP primarily because business partners requested information. Today, the drivers are much broader. We're seeing procurement teams use CDP responses to evaluate suppliers. Customers are requesting CDP disclosure as part of supplier qualification and sustainability programs. Financial institutions are increasingly reviewing environmental disclosures as part of lending and investment decisions. And many organizations use CDP as a foundation for broader ESG reporting efforts. Another reason CDP remains relevant is its alignment with major sustainability frameworks and regulations. The information organizations disclose through CDP often supports reporting under frameworks such as IFRS S1 and S2, CSRD, TCFD, TNFD, and various climate disclosure regulations emerging globally. In many ways, CDP serves as a practical starting point for building the governance, data, and processes needed for broader sustainability reporting. That's why organizations with strong CDP programs often find themselves better prepared for future reporting obligations. So next, let's review the key dates for the 2026 disclosure cycle. The questionnaire and guidance were released during the week of April 20th. The scoring methodology was published the following week, which is one of the most important resources organizations should review before beginning their responses. The disclosure window opens in mid-June and remains open through mid-September for organizations that want to submit and seek a score. And then after September, responses can still be submitted and amended through late October, but they will not receive a score. One of the biggest recommendations I can make is to start reviewing the questionnaire and scoring methodology early. Many organizations wait until July or even August to begin gathering information and quickly discover that data collection, internal approvals, and narrative development take significantly longer than anticipated. Starting early gives you time to identify gaps, engage stakeholders, and improve response quality before scoring deadlines. Now let's discuss some key updates for 2026. One of the most notable additions is the introduction of ocean-related disclosures to meet market demand. While ocean questions will not be scored in 2026, CDP is beginning to gather information from organizations that have material dependencies or impacts related to ocean ecosystems. We're also seeing increased focus on climate adaptation and resilience. Historically, organizations spent much of their effort discussing emissions and reduction targets. Today, stakeholders increasingly want to understand how companies are preparing for climate impacts and managing long-term resilience. Another important update relates to forest disclosure. Additional commodities, including cocoa, coffee, and rubber, will now be scored, expanding the scope of organizations expected to assess and manage deforestation-related risks. CDP is also expanding plastics-related disclosures, introducing additional questions focused on packaging design, circularity, recycling, compostability, and reuse models. Finally, CDP continues strengthening alignment with leading frameworks and standards, including the IFRS, TNFD, Science-Based Targets Network Guidance, GRI standards, and the latest greenhouse gas protocol developments. The overall trend is clear. CDP is moving toward a more integrated environmental disclosure framework. Now that we've discussed why CDP matters and what's changed, let's talk about small actions we can take to actually improve scores. The good news is that improving your score doesn't necessarily require launching dozens of new sustainability initiatives overnight. Often, score improvement comes from better governance, understanding scoring nuance, improved disclosure quality, and clear communication of activities already taking place within the organization. Before we get into specific recommendations, let's first understand how CDP scoring works. CDP scores fall into four main levels. There's D level, which is all about transparency, you're disclosing baseline data, and beginning the journey. C level reflects awareness, you're identifying risks, opportunities, and impacts. B level shows that you've moved into management, implementing strategies, processes, and governance. And A level, or leadership, is about verified performance, integrating sustainability into your business strategy, setting science-based targets, and demonstrating real impact. Now, here's something that trips up a lot of companies. Your score isn't just based on how many points you earn overall. One of the most important concepts to understand is that CDP scoring is cumulative. You cannot jump directly to leadership without first meeting the requirements for disclosure, awareness, and management. In addition, CDP uses what are called essential criteria. These are specific requirements that must be met before progressing to higher score levels. Many organizations lose opportunities for improvement simply because one or two essential criteria are missing. To really improve your CDP performance, it helps to understand where your score is coming from. For those of you who responded to CDP last year, you may recognize these categories from the scorecard. This slide lays out all of the score disclosure categories for the climate change questionnaire and the specific question sections that contribute to their points. As you can see, CDP scoring touches a wide range of areas. It's not just about emissions. It's about the full picture of your environmental strategy, governance, and performance. This view is also useful for prioritization. So if you're short on time or resources, and you can focus on the sections that carry the most weight, and if you're unsure why your score didn't move as expected, this kind of breakdown can help pinpoint where you may have left points on the table. This slide highlights some of the most common issues we see during score reviews. First is understanding parent and child question logic. Some parent questions trigger additional child questions based on the selected response. As an example, the question may be, do you engage suppliers? And there's yes or no options. Based on how you respond, this may trigger one or many additional child questions to disclose your process or progress in that area. If the child questions are not triggered, scoring for that section is based only on the parent question and how you respond to it. And then you are not penalized for any child questions that do not appear or cannot be answered. Second, organizations pursuing leadership level scores should remember that public disclosure is required. A non-public response will limit scoring potential. Third, blank fields remain one of the easiest ways to lose points. Most disclosure level points are awarded based on the number of cells displayed. If cells are not completed, you may be automatically capped at the disclosure level. We also frequently see organizations use generic or high-level responses. CDP rewards organizations specific information that clearly explains how risks, governance structures, and strategies apply to your business. Another common issue is the use of response option unknown. Whenever possible, provide estimates, assumptions, or plans for improving data quality. Finally, CDP is placing increasing emphasis on quantifying financial impacts. Organizations that can connect environmental risks and opportunities to business implications, cost, savings, revenue impacts, or capital planning often strengthen their responses considerably. When it comes to improving your CDP performance, the best place to begin is with a clear, realistic starting point and a structured path forward. Many companies ask, where do we begin? Especially if this is your first or second year disclosing, or if you've just received a score you weren't expecting. This 5-step process is based on real-world experience, helping companies strengthen their disclosures year over year, and it aligns directly with how CDP evaluates progress. Step 1 is focused on your initial review. If this is your first time disclosing, begin by mapping your current sustainability programs and climate-related activities to the applicable questionnaire. If you've disclosed before, review your previous CDP score and feedback in detail. This gives you a benchmark for where to focus. Step 2 is to map existing efforts and identify gaps. Look across your organization and collect what's already been done, like TCFD reports, EcoVadis submissions, GRI data, or CSRD alignment. Then identify what's missing or misaligned using CDP scoring methodology, especially the essential criteria for your target score level. Step 3 is to develop an action plan and prioritize essential criteria upgrades. This is your most critical step. If you want to improve or if you want to move up a score level, make sure you meet all the essential criteria and focus on the questions related to the weighted categories. Step 4 is to engage finance, strategy, and risk teams. CDP is increasingly looking for cross-functional involvement. To respond effectively and score well, you'll need input from teams responsible for climate targets, capital planning, and enterprise risk. This is no longer just a sustainability team exercise. And step 5 is to draft responses early and iterate. Don't wait until the deadline to start drafting. The strongest disclosures are the results of early collaboration, review, and revision. Give yourself time to test narratives, align data, and get leadership sign-off. Organizations that treat CDP as a year-round process rather than a last-minute reporting exercise consistently achieve better results. To close, I'd encourage you to think of CDP not simply as an annual disclosure exercise, but as a tool to strengthen your organization's overall environmental management and reporting capabilities. While the questionnaire can seem complex, the path to improvement is often more straightforward than many organizations expect. By starting early, focusing on the essential criteria required for your target score, and engaging the right stakeholders across the business, organizations can make meaningful improvements to both their CDP score and their environmental performance. Thank you for taking the time to view this session. We hope you found it helpful as you prepare for the 2026 disclosure cycle, and we wish you success with your upcoming CDP reporting efforts. And please don't hesitate to reach out if support is needed. We're here to help.